Hello, this is John from Digital Media 1, and this is a description of assignment number 2. And so I simply want you all to copy your week 1 folder, make a duplicate of it in your directory, and rename the copy assignment 2, so that if anything goes wrong in this assignment, you can always go back to week 1 and copy the file and use it for assignment 2. So here you'll simply use the floor plan you started in week 1 and modify it further. So we're going to create all the interior walls, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like in a second here. And you're going to use the Albany Park PDF file I've given you in week 1, as well as this enlarged plans PDF file. So you're simply going to review those files to get information that you need to do the drawing. You're going to create all the windows and doors as blocks, and I've described what those are in a video for this class. And you can create the windows as blocks if it makes sense. And again, per the video on AutoCAD, if an object is used more than once, like a door of a certain size or a window of a certain size, you typically want to make it a block so you don't have to redraw it a second time. So here's a description of the design firm research project where you're pairing with another classmate. This part of the assignment is not due next week, but I just simply want to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So read these requirements. You'll be researching a design firm, and I've paired you up with a classmate. So look at this Excel file that's in your week 2 folder and see who your teammate is. So the two of you will be working together. I think there's one 3-person team. And you'll be creating a presentation that you present to the class orally. So these are the requirements, and we will discuss these in more detail next class. But I just wanted to give you the requirements early on here. Again, this project is not due until week 11, so you've got a lot of time. But in terms of the week 2 project, CAD project that's required, you'll simply, in our assignment 2 folder, you'll simply revise your original floor plan and turn it in again with the changes from this week, where, again, at the top here, you were simply creating interior walls. And so here, this is the new file I've given you. This file here, this is the enlarged plan file. It gives you zoomed in areas, we call them callouts in AutoCAD, of certain areas that are missing information. So for example, on the overall floor plan here, if I were to zoom in here for a second, you'll notice that here there's no measurements for the interior of these study rooms. There's no telling how wide this room is. There's a wall here, and there's no dimensions for those walls. Typically, walls have these little boxes with a little line on it. That box is a signification of a wall type. It describes how that wall is constructed, and you know it's a wall if it has these little boxes with those sticks on them. On the interior of the building, we're inside the building currently. But because this drawing here is missing information, sometimes in a set of drawings, you're sent to another file, and here it says, go to sheet number A61 and look at drawing 2 for this area enlarged. So that is the file I've given you here. So for example here, this is drawing number 2, and notice here they've actually given us 19 foot 11, this is 13 foot 8.5, and 18 foot 11.25. They've given us some information on how large to draw that room. And for this exercise on the interior of the building, we will typically assume that most of the walls are 5 inches thick. They might be slightly bigger, but for the most part, you can assume that the walls are 5 inches thick. But feel free to adjust them if you need to. You're simply going to trace the JPEG a second time. And so you see there's various aspects of the drawing here. This is the meeting rooms here, and here at the bottom are office spaces. And again, because the large floor plan doesn't include dimensions for those rooms, these drawings get into more detail and do include some additional useful information that's showing you some measurements of how big the rooms are. So with that being said, your drawing should look like this when it's completed. And again, make sure when you open up your file that your X references are linked correctly. And I go through that in my instructional video. And if you zoom in here, these are the interior walls. You can see them all here in white. Last week we did the exterior of the building. This week we're focusing on the interior of the building. And you can assume that most of these walls, for the most part, are 5 inches thick. Maybe there's a wall here and there, like these walls here, a little bit thicker. But again, trace the drawing, and you'll be able to depict them the correct way. But for the most part, the skinny ones are 5 inches thick. And you'll see here that there's windows here. So you can see, for example, that that window there is a block. You know it's a block because when I click on it, the entire thing highlights in blue. And right there's a little dot for the insertion point, and that block was created correctly. And that block is copied into each of these locations because they're all the same. So there's no need to redraw the windows in these locations. When you've got a block, you can reuse. That's the reason why we use blocks. Here's a copy of the same block over here at these windows. They've been rotated 90 degrees, and they've been placed here. Honestly, it looks like these drawings should be moved back a little bit. I will move this. Click Enter. Pick a place to start moving it from. Move it to the left. Here. 6. And use undo. I'll assume it was 6. Maybe it's 5. I'm going to move this again. Pick here. Type 5. Enter. And move it over 5 inches. Move this and this. And the reason why it's so easy to move them, because they're blocks. If they weren't blocks, it'd be a lot more work. Click to start the command. Pick a place to start moving them. Here. Move your mouse to the left. Type 5. Enter on your keyboard and move over 5 inches. And that's more representational of the windows there. Again, do your best to draw them as accurately as you can, but again, we will discuss additional CAD commands as we move forward every week. So this is what the expectation is. And compare your drawings to this drawing here and make sure that these walls are in fact the ones that are created in your assignment number 2. Don't create any additional items. Don't create furniture, and don't create any other additional aspects of the design besides what you see on the screen in front of you. And if you create doors, expect that all the doors are in fact blocks. Okay. Good luck with the assignment, and again, we've got a tutor for the class you can contact, or contact me and reference my office hours under the Calendly link, and we'll touch base and answer any questions at that point. Okay? All right. Good luck with your assignments.